Good evening or good morning, wherever you're located. We are here for the bracket stages of the Open League for Link to the Past randomizer tournament. I am Mocha Jones here with my good friend, Radical Sniper 99. How you doing, Radical Sniper?
Good evening, Mocha. It is great to be here. Yes, we are into the playoffs. This is the second day of playoffs, and if you haven't been watching today, we have had just a great match after great match all day.
Oh
But
man.
we are into the division finals. What we mean by division finals is Open League, top two teams from every division made it into playoffs. And unfortunately, to get any further, you got to get past your division rival here. So, In Rod We Trust and Swordbeam Club truly fit the definition of division rivals, both finishing this regular season with 10-4 records.
Yeah, and we were just talking earlier about it. They were not the only team to go 10-4 in their division. There is a three-way tie, and there are some crazy tiebreaker shenanigans that happened, and these two teams just happen to be the ones who went on to bracket stages.
Yeah, Biumvirit was the third team to finish 10-4. Unfortunately, based on the tiebreaker structure, they looked at the records between the three teams. Swordbeam Club finishing first overall with a 3-1 record against the other two. In Rod We Trust 2-2, and unfortunately Biumvirit at 1-3 was left as the odd team out here. But this is a Pendant of Courage matchup between bsj and SEJay, so we are playing Kaz Boots. So standard start with the boots and a sword.
Yeah, so the question I usually have, we have an early map check. Looks like we have red crystal at Eastern, and crystals also at Hera and Desert. So we have three Dark World pendants.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, the question I usually ask, is this an Agaseed?
No, it's never an Agaseed, it's never a Ped Seed. You just go fast. Although, dang, we already got that cave. Mocha.
So we found Lamp in its vanilla location. Do these runners just go straight up the tower?
No, never. Maybe if you really want to, clown a little bit tonight, but I hope not. I've raced with SEJay quite a bit, so I know, some of how he feels about these kinds of things. And we were talking about his opening strategy after getting through this standard, and his whole thing was, oh my gosh, we already got the mirror as well. Um, he likes to play this as a Skipperiko, is the kind way we were talking about it. He'll avoid doing Kakariko as much as possible at the start of Kaz Boots. See if maybe he can get a couple of extra items.
Yeah, CJ usually goes towards the eastern area, like goes from South Shore to eastern area, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure about BSJ's route, but it probably would be going to Kakariko, see what CJ's going to miss.
Yeah, I'm a big Kak player to start, but I don't hate the idea of skipping it a little bit and waiting. I do understand the logic, and the boots do make it pretty easy to set up that water walk to get onto that portal towards Ice Rod Cave. But we'll see about that. I guess that partly depends on, bombs.
I am not a witch. I am a warlock.
I don't know, Mocha. You've done this. You've done this a few times with me here. I feel like the last time we did comms together, you did the same thing. You said something, and we were like, "How did you know?"
If you didn't notice, the lamp was in its vanilla location.
One of its vanilla locations. But yeah, it's great when we get these early mirror escapes. Really gonna be able to cut down the time.
Yeah. Uh, who wants to walk all the way back through the dungeon of Hyrule Castle? Just mirror out.
Yeah, no, let's, really turn up the speed on this seed.
Also, who cares about bombs when we have boots? Just bonk and get to the back of um, the area here, and we get powder and cane.
What is this seed? This is really generous for early. Um, Look at all the items that we've picked up. We're not finding the little nice resources. 50 rupees is good, but we've got so many items that really help this seed go. Samaria is always nice. Mirror, cape, boots already, of course, but powder and a lamp, like all the security as well.
SEJay finding a bomb on the rats, so will he farm rats? Probably not. Maybe so.
Looks like he's going to go for at least a few. I don't disagree with the idea. We didn't get any. It allows him to keep his money, so...
Alright, so let's see where SEJay goes. As we do see, bsj is heading over towards the Kakariko area.
Yeah, and what you'll see, if I'm not mistaken on this route, some runners have taken this up in the last year or so. It's kind of become a new route, is you do the normal open of a Kakariko start. So we're going to get Bonk Rocks, you're going to get Lumberjack, you're going to get Lost Woods. But what's going to happen is that inside of Lost Woods, SEJay will likely set up a water walk with over the Thief drop down, as we do get that Lumberjack check, and it's just a heart container. So SEJay will use that that ledge in the Lost Woods to set up a water walk. He'll then jump down into the whirlpool area just by the mountain climb, and that'll allow him to get down to Ice Rod Cave, and he'll probably do Ice Rod Cave into some other water checks and water walk checks, such as the waterfall and maybe even scout out Zora Ledge. We'll be a little short on money, of course, but that's not the big reason to do this.
Yeah, I am curious if he'll actually go through with that, since they did get a bottle earlier on in the Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, the only thing he's really missing, we do have that powder, so that's a nice little piece if you want to go for it. But if we can get a hammer or flute, that does make it a little bit more rewarding for Kakariko. So, but we will see how SEJay approaches this, see if he's been, telling the truth on this idea. And yep, this is it. So there's your setup. So he's going to head out of the Lost Woods here, as bsj is in Kakariko, giving us Blind's Hut. And just a lot of little bits of love there. Walks off the ledge, and there we go. There's our water walk down towards Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, so far, Blind's Hut giving us really nothing.
Yeah, and if people are unfamiliar with this one, it's very similar to the one you would see a lot of runners do if they wanted to set up the water walk in in the Skull Woods area. It's very similar. And it's the same principle as what you would see here in Ice Rod. It's really just about getting the lineup on a ledge like that and being able to just dash down it.
Yeah, I think SEJay was good with that first dash he had there. As long as you're hovering the ledge, it's pretty generous about your location. But we did get a blue melt in the well.
Yeah,
still nothing much in CAC.
Yeah, we're going to get that Hylia Island Scout, and I couldn't see it. I think it was a heart or a piece of heart.
Looked like a piece of heart to me. And there's a Master Sword.
Interesting. So I think we'll get to see the ledge, and then maybe SEJay will head back for Hobo before saving and quitting.
Now, we do want to say that that Master Sword is not in Logic right now.
You mean water walking isn't expected of me?
I mean, it's
such a staple.
It's expected but it's not in logic from the game's perspective.
I know.
And there's a bow on Lazy Kid.
Is the kid lazy or sick? I've always been curious.
You know, yes, he's sick because, in the lore of the actual game, he's gotten sick from the air from the darkness that's spreading. So
Oh,
yes,
is that
he's
actually what the
sick.
explanation is?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then here is the continuation of all this not going to Kakariko. SEJay gonna give us, I think, Mini Moldorm to Dam to Agina. So that's part of the reason why this route kind of comes together so nicely, is it also allows you to route in the Agina checks.
Yeah. We did miss. bsj did get Ether Medallion from the Chicken Hut.
Although, unfortunately, SEJay taking the death on those Mini Moldorms, not coming in with full health, so unable to use Swordbeams to get through that.
bsj heading immediately to go see what Eastern has for us today.
Yeah, it's a fully clearable Eastern Palace, so I really like that play.
Saha, not really much for us, but wasn't really expecting much from him anyway.
Well, there's our first glove in the Mini Moldorm Cave.
So we've counted 3 bottles and a glove now. I think that's 3 bottles we've seen.
I think it's only 2.
Maybe.
Because they got the first bottle in Escape.
Yes, and we just saw that be in the bottle. Thought there was another one. Maybe I'm mistaken. Seed bleed is a thing. Especially when casting so many races.
Yeah, this has been a busy day in the Open playoffs right now. Pretty much, we've almost had a seed every hour or two all night, or all day even, so... and we've seen a lot of great modes between, we've seen some great Kaz Boots races. I think we've seen a cross keys or 2 in the last day. And we've seen a lot of those Game 3 modes.
Yeah, I believe one of them was actually an Ambrosia, wasn't it?
Yes, we have gotten some Ambrosia. That seems to be a popular choice as we get the Ice Rod out of Eastern Palace. So the reason we...
I was going to say, do you explain...
I was going to say, for the Burna skip from SEJay, we've got Cape. I think he doesn't really care at this point about getting Burna. You get the one, don't need the other. So yeah, playoffs. What do we got? How does it work? So, your team has 3 members, and what's going to happen is it's a best of 5 series. Games 1, 2, and 3 can be played in any order. The first game, of course, is what these 2 runners are playing. It is the Pendant of Courage. Players play Kaz Boots. The Pendant of Wisdom will be playing a cross keys, while the Pendant of Power gets to select between 4 modes. High seed picks mode for game 3, low seed picks for game 4. So one of those 4 modes, we have Ambrosia, Swordless, Hard Enemizer, and Open MC Shuffle, which is also hard. So
yeah, I believe so.
So those are the 4 modes that get picked. Whatever is picked for game 3 cannot be picked for game 4. And then finally, if game 5, if necessary, will be a co-op Retrance seed. So 1 runner for each team will play game 4. The other 2 runners would be the ones required to play in game 5. So a whole just mess of strategy is going to come into play for that.
We have a question.
We're not playing Ambrosia tonight. It's an inverted start. Big keys are shuffled, and you start with a sword. and the bosses are guaranteed to have an item.
The only caveat to the big key is I believe GT still has big key in its dungeon.
Yes, GT big key is in GT. Yeah, in terms of the difference between Cape and Burna, Cape does burn magic a little bit faster, but the activation cost for Burna is a little higher. In terms of logical implications, it is that if you are doing Cape strats for Spike Cave, you're expected to have a bottle as well to make it in logic. But that's not really a big issue for our runners, given we've already found a few bottles.
And there's SEJay getting his sword. Not much. I mean, we have mountain access now. We know we have mountain access with SEJay having that glove. Other than that,
I mean,
they can
that's
get Hera.
decent mountain as well.
Yeah, because we can actually go to Hera, because we have Mirror.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it's a reasonable play. You know, I would still probably do Eastern Palace first.
Oh yeah, definitely do Easter. I'm just talking about with what the runners have already done. What else is there to do? Which essentially is Mountain, and if they want to go to Zora, they could.
Yeah, we're definitely we're running low on things. You know, Mountain's pretty good with 5 items right now. But as you said, I mean, I hate to admit it, but the Aga play is looking better little by little.
I'm sorry, runners, if you have to do Aga. I did not mean to curse you with it at the very beginning of the seed, but chat's gonna love it anyway.
That's the thing. I mean, this seed's kind of like been pointing it the whole way. You know, when do you ever get all these different Aga pieces so quickly?
Yeah, I'm curious, like, what... So if we find a hammer or we find another glove, Aga is 50-50 not required. Or more than likely not required. That's if you don't have the secrets break anything else.
Yeah, and the curious thing here is, as you said, you know, Zora is a possibility. And the one thing that hurts SEJay that will not hurt bsj here is just the fact that bsj's already got the money. So I think we see a water walk into Zora area from bsj, and if there's something required off of Zora, you know, I wonder if SEJay might, you know, if it is one of our Dark World pieces, does SEJay do Aga?
Watch now that you said that Zora's gonna be vanilla.
Right, I don't know. But that's the thing, you know, SEJay having done Zora area already, like, I don't know if it's his kind of thing.
Exactly, so that might be orphaned on SEJay's side for a while, if it is something. I mean, if it's nothing, then progression is elsewhere. SEJay will find it.
And bsj setting up for the stored water walk. So this is a little bit different of a technique. What you do is you do the same thing for the water walk storage or setup in Ice Rod Cave, but instead of just taking that off right as you jump in, instead what you're going to do is you are coming back down to the normal spot. You do a fake flipper, and as long as you get it first try, you can actually store the water walk for later usage.
Such as getting your fake flipper here, and just so happy if you have to get something, or just go ahead and using it right here.
Yep. That's the thing. The case that Mocha is bringing up is you actually continue to store it, and then you can jump off the waterfall in Zora's domain and get the ledge item without having the ability to do the splash deletion. So lots of uses for that technique.
Yeah, but BSJ does have the equipment. Well, got to flash that lamp a few times, but does have the equipment to actually set up that splash delete.
Well, unfortunately, the only problem with that is an Armos kill really messes it up, so we would have to see some lamp usage.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Spam that lamp.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. And SEJay giving us a little different of an Armos quick kill. I know this is the version he prefers. He's practiced at it. It just, you watch it and you're like, what kind of kill is that? So,
Yeah,
nicely done.
I prefer that setup. It's just me, further steps to take, or less steps to take. But hey, it gets the job done, and we have an even crystal count on both sides. We see that Zora is nothing, just scamming us all the time again, and progression is elsewhere.
And unfortunately, as you're seeing SEJay heading back in the Eastern Palace, he did skip the vanilla big key chest, which did have an item.
I do think that item was inconsequential. I believe it was just some money or some sticks.
Yeah.
So we're not really missing anything. Going up the mountain, BSJ is.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's the best play you got. As we said, it's 5 items. We've got the Old Man, top of Spectacle Rock, inside of Spectacle Rock, and the 2 in Tower of Hera.
So where do you think progression is? Where do you think it is?
On the pyramid.
On the pyramid? Are you saying that this is a required Aga seed?
I don't want to believe it yet. I would hope for at least one other better item, I guess is the way to put it.
Well, that's not it right there.
I mean, health's nice if I have to go do Aga soon. But yeah, I like to have at least like a hook shot before I make that kind of decision. Like, at this point, I look at that equipment and I go, the seed would be telling me to just go into pod. And that's not a, great feeling.
Hey, there's a hammer. We could go on the pod if we have to.
Well, instead, what we can do is we can clear all of the mountain. Even better.
But we are still a moon pearl away now. We can get in there, but we can't really do anything unless we want to bunny walk.
Well, and this is not cross keys, so bunny walking is not our friend.
BSJ showed us a very nice setup to bomb over that ledge.
Yeah, really nicely executed. SEJay now heading up the mountain as well, so just a little bit behind so far. The only real difference is SEJay did give us a Gina, which BSJ has not checked, as we do get that map check, Pendant Pod, Pendant Thieves, and Green Pendant Ice Palace with a red crystal at Skull Woods.
Alright, so we're going to have to find those flippers. Because can't do swamp without flippers.
Definitely not. So into Tower of Hera for BSJ. Let us see what we can find. And there's a small key, a vanilla small key.
Are we going to the basement?
I mean, if this isn't big key...
A French vanilla moon pearl.
Sure. Sure.
Is Aga dead now?
Very much so. It is about as dead as it can be. We mourn the loss of Aga.
I mean, if we never see Aga 1, is Aga 1 really dead?
I don't know what to tell you there. But we are getting coffee break on BSJ's side as SEJay does have that hammer and is now heading into Tower of Hera. And we'll see if SEJay decides to bail on Hera. You know, we are getting that first item. Do you consider waiting and maybe doing this dungeon later with Hookshot instead of going through Coffee Break?
It will depend on what SEJay is doing right now. What's more important, the amount of items, or go ahead and clearing out a crystal?
See, and SEJay is deciding to also do the basement, so nobody is gaining time on this play.
Yeah, and again, I don't disagree with this. Just cause it is go ahead and clearing a crystal dungeon, and you're already in here, might as well just go ahead and do it. Now, the only downside is if there is an important item in here and you do decide to skip out, you're missing an important item.
Yeah, and that's the only curiosity is, you know, do you feel any desire to make a skip or make a gamble? And nobody really did this time. But bsj, unfortunately, taking a fall there, missing that bumper dash. And deciding, no, I am not going to try this again.
So let's give him a little bit of time back to SEJay. Not a lot, but just enough. Just some.
Yeah, and really no runner has a big advantage yet. They're really just following each other. SEJay, as we said, did make the Agena check for that red rang, but bsj able to check Zora, and okay, I stand wrong on this one. Apparently the play was to full clear Hera, because not only did we get a Moon Pearl, we got flippers.
I promise I'm not a witch. Even though I was totally mentioning flippers very, very earlier in this conversation, I'm not a witch, I promise.
You really do have a talent for this, Mocha. How do you do it? Like, can you help, you know, can you use your powers for your own benefit in Seeds, or is this just commentary power?
This is just commentary powder. Totally commentary powder. But SEJay's on his Moldorm fight. Ooh, that was a poke.
Yeah, that's a poke, so he's gonna have to be a little careful here. SEJay? Oh, he had 2 pokes, okay.
Yeah, I don't think there is anything of note in Spiral Cave. Oh, wait, where did we get Ice Rod?
That was
where
in
Ice Rod
Eastern.
was?
No, Eastern. Yeah.
You mean we didn't highlight the most trolly item in the game?
I mean, I feel like that's just beating a dead horse today. I know there's been we did have an Ice Rod hunt earlier today, and they're just so frequent, it feels like.
So if we find...
We've got the miss.
I quit.
See, where have you been all my life? Because, wow, this has just been the... Look at the kindness of this seed. Just kind of like, here, have all the items.
I quit. I was about to say, if we find mitts and they just pop up.
So, unfortunately, what we do know, though, is we have 3 pendant dungeons that are just kind of, you know, 2 of them are full clearable right now. In Pod and Thieves Town. Ice Palace is the only one we cannot right now, based on no fire source. But that is not far away, and of course, still logically might be hookshot locked. But we'll see what we get here up on the rest of DDM, as well as a check of our Turtle Rock Medallion.
Do we see one of our runners, or I don't know what our runners have in their bottles, but could we see them do a spot cave?
With half magic, yes, and it is Bombos for Turtle Rock tonight. So SEJay heading up through Super Bunny while bsj did go through the Turtle Rock portal. Nobody's really going to gain anything off of this, just because we know that it is Bombos, and we do not have that yet.
Yeah, we can only check maybe 2 items depending on the key layout at this moment.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal. I do see a question or the use of a schedule command. Fortunately, we don't have an answer from a bot here, but I can tell you that while this is the last race of the Tuesday night block, we do have many races coming up tomorrow. 11 a.m. tomorrow, we do have the second game from this team being shown on Speed Gaming with the Cross Keys race between Sean Rhapsody and Brev. And then 7:10 is when we get our next race as part of the night crew stuff. JKLOL versus Rando Babies. 8:40 Dante Manus Join versus Kakariko Brew Crew. 11:10 p.m. JKLOL versus Rando Babies in another game. So we do have 4 games currently on the schedule for tomorrow. And there's that Spike Cave play you were talking about.
Yeah, already up the mountain. Might as well go ahead if you have the equipment for it.
Yep. And Spike Cave does not give us anything today. Now, is SEJay gonna... I know SEJay can hover, and it looks like he is gonna go for this. If he doesn't get perpetually trolled. And because of the trolling of the berry, he says no.
So, what open dungeon do we go to now?
Honestly, I think I do. I like this play from bsj. I think you clear out a lot of your dark overworld. Go Hype Cave up to Village of Outcasts. If you don't find anything, maybe we go do Thieves Town.
Which is a pendant Thieves Town at that.
Okay,
hey, is that Boots?
Yeah, that would be if it was a green 20.
Ooh, there's a tempered sword as well, and some trash as well in that last chest.
So we do have a question in chat about the playoffs. Okay, so this is the Link to the Past Randomizer League. We just finished a couple weeks ago. We finished a 7-week regular season. This is the open league, so we had 64 teams in 8 divisions. Top 2 teams from every division made the playoffs. So in the first round of the playoffs, what happens is you must face off against your other division opponent. So in this case, the Swordbeam Club and In Rod We Trust were the top 2 teams out of our Eastern Palace division. So what happens is that all of our Light World conferences, or was it Pendant conferences? So they are part of our Pendant conferences, which were Eastern Palace, Desert Palace, Tower of Hera, and Castle Tower. And then we have 8 teams also from our Crystal Conference, Pod Division, Thieves Town, Turtle Rock, and GT divisions. So we had 16 teams make the playoffs. The top 2 teams from every division face off, and then it just works its way down to we get a champion at the end of the playoffs. So,
yeah, and league is actually there's an open league, which is what this part is, and then there's also an invitational tournament, which those groups have their own pairings as well.
Yeah, but the only real difference between invitational and open is really just an experience thing at this point. I wouldn't say it's necessarily one team set is truly better than the others. Well, invitational is the better players at this point, but these are definitely your up-and-comer players. And these are teams. The big deal here is the last 4 teams alive in the open playoffs do get an invite into the Invitational League next season. So these teams are really kind of, This isn't just for bragging rights. This is, hey, I want to be in the Invitational next season.
Do want to note that we did find a fire rod in K45. So
yeah,
we could go into Still Woods now and go ahead and beat Moth.
And that also means that the Pyramid Ferry is open. SEJay did get the fire rod.
Ooh, that's a flute in the chess game.
So what happened actually? The whole thing. Oh yeah, flute's nice. League has actually been going on for the last 2 or 3 months. But during the SGL tournament, League took a break. League had the last week off to kind of clear the schedule on SGL side, or for SGL. So there were more stream times or stream slots available for the SGL.
SEJay, go ahead and doing that Smith chain, going to hammer pates, getting that hook shot. bsj has not done that yet.
And we got a huge, like, that's a huge find, because at this point, look at how close SEJay is to go mode. Like, what are we really missing at this point? A Bombos medallion and potentially a medallion for Meyer? Is that it?
I believe so. Which I think bsj is thinking of going to Meyer?
He's going to check the Meyer area having gotten the flute, but yeah, he's not really going to make a play. When does he head back for the hammer pegs? This could really work out nicely for SEJay. But we are getting a check of our Meyer medallion, and it is... I could not see that for the life of me.
It is Quake. We do not have either medallion. Unless it's under the doormat, which is not. Wow. For once, a medallion is not under the mat. Unless it's in Checkerboard Cave.
Well, we are going to get a full clear of Desert Palace as well.
Which is another crystal.
Yes. And yeah, you know, as it's been stated, the two like SGL, ALTTPR League, all these different Link to the Past randomizer sets of events are very distinct entities, but they all have, you know, very similar player pools. It's just, you know, a different little spin on it. So this has a lot of different modes throughout the season, kind of being as a truly, like, I don't want to call it a test, but just the full ability to look at, you know, where does your skills lie in this game? And yeah, this is a medallion hunt at this point. We are just a Bombos and a Quake medallion from us being in no mode or SEJay being in go mode. Unfortunately, bsj does not know where that hook shot is yet.
Yeah, I believe that was the first Autumn in Desert right there. And there's a second.
And we're just knocking it. We got,
no.
Is that 4 bottles?
That is all 4 bottles, my friend.
So yeah, I think there's a really natural route here for SEJay. I mean, I would probably, yep, here we go. We're going to get to see Skull Woods. I think he checks Bumper Ledge.
I would say that probably check that before going into Skull Woods, but go ahead and get your crystal, make your way towards the big bomb.
Yeah, I think
you know, have it.
If I was in SEJay's shoes here, and you know, SEJay and I do have very different philosophies on routing, but if I was routing at this point, I've liked his route up to this point. I would do Skull, then I do Desert, and I would do that in order to find out what my medallion needs are, and then I would do Swamp into Pyramid Ferry. And if by then I'm not in go mode, we'll start talking about pendants. I
definitely want to start talking. So don't want to have to start thinking about about the pedestal yet.
Yeah, and I think I'd probably skip some of the North Dark World checks. I might not do Graveyard and King's Tomb, if I'm completely honest.
Was that the first or second item
Where?
in Desert?
Skull? Oh,
Yeah, in
that
Skull,
was the
yeah.
second. I thought you
'Cause
said
we just
the
got
bottle
Book.
was the second. Oh, book was second then, because we got a bottle on the right side. Yeah, BSJ taking a bit of a new school approach, a lot with the most recent main tourney. If you got one item in the front of Desert, or if you got your big key and one item, you skip big chest until after beating Landmo.
Bottle was in Desert. Book is in Skull. Is
Oh,
what I
sorry.
was talking about.
I'm on the ball here. It's only 1 a.m.
I get that. Well, it's almost midnight here. Late night rando, gotta love it.
Yeah, definitely. It's great having the league back in full swing after that break. So BSJ getting the red boomerang as SEJay is dropping into that moth fight, and we'll be tied up on the crystal count again.
Was that intentional damage from SEJay? Get rid of Swordbeams on Moth?
Possibly. It's a really good play. Swordbeams on the moth is never great. But yeah, there's crystal number 3 for SEJay to tie up this crystal count. SEJay does still have that little bit of an advantage having our hook shot still. We'll see if BSJ does go to hammer peg soon.
Because right now, that is definitely the big difference. In which BSJ right now putting off that hammer peg check to go into Skull Woods.
Yeah, and one of the things our tracker, Professor Pixie, pointing out, SEJay going right at the moth, that's actually a great strategy. If you can really bring the fight to moth, and having Tempered Sword is a great argument for it, playing offensive there is really the strong play. Do not give it moth a chance to attack you, and you can control the flow of the fight. And we're getting a ped check.
And Pet's dead.
The ped's dead.
But tablets are still in play.
And here we go. SEJay is going to give us that check of the Mire area as well as the desert clear. So really going with that play, he's in great shape to find out, hey, I don't have either medallion, but that's all I need now.
And with these runners kind of going over each other in locations checked, give our runners a follow. SEJay and bsj72380. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please give our runners a follow. Show them your support. Also give my co-com Ralco99 a follow. Our tracker Professor Pixie, our restreamer Yonkers Rife, and be sure that you stay following our the ALTTPR league family of channels. This and 2 through 4. I don't know if we've added anything else lately.
I believe it's just 2 through 4, and for this week, we are seeing at least some of the Open League matches show up on Speed Gaming. So definitely keep an eye out for some league races there. Invitational League playoffs will be starting on Monday as well. So there is going to be a lot of racing playoffs for both leagues coming up. So BSJ went straight to the back without getting that book, it appears. So gonna get might have to route back for the ped read if desired.
Yeah, I believe that was. I can't remember which check it was now. It's in there, but it's in the front. It's in the first part of Skull Woods.
And did CJ skip Landmo?
Gonna grab that back over there in case Checkerboard Cave had something.
Interesting choice. I'm not a big fan of the extra mirror transitions, but it works.
You can already see that hook shot making good work until the missed, but good work for mobility inside dungeons instead of having to rev up your boots, just hook shot over.
Yeah, extra, having that movement tech and really knowing how to maximize your use of both items, knowing your dash lines, but also knowing when to not dash and just go with a hook is really important. But BSJ currently at 4 crystals, SEJay about to get his 4th crystal, and we'll be tied up mostly in checks. The only difference is going to be SEJay having the hook shot.
Which will probably lead SEJay, again, as you were saying, to that swamp into big bomb play.
Yeah, and BSJ is going to give us the North Dark World, so bringing further away from Hammer Pegs, unfortunately. But Bumper Ledge not going to help at this moment. And yeah, that was a nice Landmo kill on SEJay's side. I unfortunately did not get to see it on BSJ's side, but really nice quick kill.
It looks like BSJ is going to take the northern Hyrule, going from Bumper Cave. Probably will head towards Catfish if they take that portal with them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. Catfish is kind of isolated at this point. Although we were wrong. Apparently, Catfish doesn't exist for BSJ either.
That mushroom is a thing, though.
That is. I like fetch quests. Especially when we got loot.
Alright, what does this mushroom turn into?
I think the best case for BSJ is the medallion. And it's just $300.
That's a good mushroom right there, I guess.
Must be. Premium prices. And BSJ heading into this portal. This might be the big bomb from BSJ.
I would imagine it would have to be. Because I would not see anyone going into Hookless Swamp at this moment when there are still checks to make.
Yeah, that would be quite the risk. So I think this is a good play. Just unfortunate not having that hook shot yet when we know where it is.
Hey, it could lead to having medallions and giving BSJ things that they can clear. But again, taken away from that hookshot direction.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, SEJay really does have a nice route in terms of, being able to go directly into the bomb, whereas any medallion really does distract BSJ from returning to Village of Outcasts and Smith Chain. But just money inside of the pyramid. And SEJay is going to give us left side.
Yep. I mean, we're still looking for 2 items. I don't blame them.
No, and I agree with you on this one. I think you make this kind of play right now. But it looks like BSJ is going to hope for a vanilla or sort of vanilla medallion.
And we are getting a diver down on SEJay's side.
Nicely done with the Samaria block.
So, best case scenario for BSJ would be what?
A medallion right here, right now. And unfortunately, it is not there. BSJ, you know, really what we're looking for is go to Smith Chain. And this might be Ice Palace.
I believe so. Got that fire rod out. Yeah,
Yep.
This is a nice Palace play. Which it is green pendant.
And this could be green pendant into pendant pod to turn in with Saha. It's a smart play. It's just unfortunately not the right play. And I think that's one of those things that you hear a lot of commentators talk about, or you'll hear a lot of runners talk about, is you can make what is a smart decision and get burned for it. And that's just the nature of this game. But at this point, you know, SEJay really hasn't gotten anything out of Swamp. We still got the back half here, so maybe.
The chat's asking where was Hookshot. Hookshot was at Hammer Pegs, which BSJ decided to opt out of doing the Smith Chain when they had the chance, and went ahead and went to up into Village of Outcast.
Yeah, SEJay picked up Jeremiah on the way in and did at least Jeremiah and Hammer Pegs. And yeah, as Professor Pixie is pointing out, you know, watching the key layout very carefully, this is a dungeon that can be hookshot locked, and we do not currently know if it is. But I did not see Big Key yet, so it is possible it is hookshot locked if we find the Big Key soon.
There it is.
There's the key. I think that means we're not. No, we are hookshot locked. We had one small. I think you need both smalls and no big, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Ice Palace is always weird.
Yeah, so the reason why the dungeon can be hookshot locked is if you can spend your keys to make... There is actually a pit in the vanilla layout of this dungeon. And it's kind of... You kind of don't see it a lot anymore because we just find ways around it. If you do iced tea room and then go north through that water, or through that room with the ice and the pen gators, to the right there is a room with 4 red berries and a large gap requiring hookshot. Technically, the game would expect you to hookshot through that room to get to right side. We did get a check of Bombo's tablet. It is nothing. SEJay really, you know, making some checks, hoping to find something. I think SEJay is going to give us the bomb as well. And then, I don't know, where do you go if you're in SEJay's shoes? We know that this isn't the answer.
I mean, I would think that if I were in SEJay's shoes, having hookshot now, it's a mountain climb, but I can at least clear the rest of Hookshot Cave. But again, that's a mountain climb. That's just for 3 items. But it's something that you can get.
I don't like the 3-item climb. I know why you're suggesting it. I just don't love it either. But watch that kind of be where our Bombos medallion is for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and then there's always the homage of there's always something in Pendant Pod.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's not a bad play from BSJ. I think there's a decent chance there's something in there. The other thing is, did we even see the front of Thieves Town?
We did not even step foot in Thieves Town.
That's a surprise. Usually we see at least the front four.
Could that possibly be BSJ saving grace if they go back and do the front four of Thieves Town and also goes to Hammer Pegs?
I mean, there's at least enough in Village of Outcast to kind of draw BSJ there, as SEJay inadvertently reads the sign outside of Pyramid.
Yeah, we had to know where Pod was, because I don't think SEJay's going to head that way at all. Did BSJ turn in Green Pendant?
No.
I don't think so. As we have one key, ha ha ha.
Yeah, but at least 4 in the front.
I like to call Pod the counting dungeon because we count so many keys in here.
So we did get a second key on the bridge there. So this is a very traditional route. You know, you hit up the vanilla big key chest next, and then route over to the right side. And there's a vanilla or a small key in our big key chest. So there's our third. We are guaranteed at least 4 small keys here in the front of Palace of Darkness. There's the fourth one. That does not mean we will always get 4. It is possible to get all 6 in the front of Pod.
I was going to say, can we get the fabled 6 key front?
I mean, it's rare, but we do see it on occasion. Nice kill of our mimics there on BSJ's side, as SEJay does head to Catfish. We know this isn't our answer, so really kind of keying in here on what BSJ is doing to see if we get any of these medallions. There's our compass, though. And final chest in the front is the big key. So we did get two non-small keys and 4 keys.
Okay, SEJay is going to make their way up to King Zora. Will be scammed.
Unfortunately, BSJ getting a little bullied by the that red little jellyfish dude or octopus dude.
Oh, the beetles are awful.
Yes, they are. But
we're getting a hammer yelp?
Yeah, I'm surprised given we already have our mirror, but it's not a terrible play. And it does look like SEJay is making the play for hookshot. And the ether tablet, so there was an extra item up here, so I think this is a smart play, you know, saying this is my chance to get the 4 checks. And if any of these is a medallion, it really sets him up nicely.
We see just $40 in the dark maze.
And ether tablet is
the best boomerang of the game.
Mocha, I thought we were cool. I really did.
Do you want the lag? And they're silvers.
I like my boomerangs red. Sorry.
There are only 2 places to properly use the red ring. But enough about boomerangs. We're going to Hookshot Cave. We got silvers and Pod, so that could be a time save for BSJ.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't found any progression here in Pod, but it's a nice find from just extra utility. But here we go with Hookshot Cave, Piece of Heart, Quake Medallion. So there was one here on, and bombs. So that is one of the 2 pieces we needed for go mode.
I promise I am not a witch.
I mean, this is a huge play for SEJay. We're gonna get Meyer immediately.
Yeah, the only I don't even know what to say.
Honestly, bsj is running out of outs. Unfortunately, 2 pendant dungeons, both not paying out. Silvers are nice; they'll help for Vitreous, but with Cape and Half Magic, SEJay's in decent shape for the Vidi fight. As we're saying, like, there just are not a lot of outs for bsj right now.
The only out that bsj could have is that green medallion, that green pendant, being Bombos.
Yeah. And honestly, Thieves Town play could help if it's Bombos and SEJay decides to do Pod and Ice. But even that's a little tough. But SEJay's been really quite efficient in just clearing out, dungeons and overworld. So he's left only a few little orphan checks. And yep, there's the end of Palace of Darkness, just a Piece of Heart and that blue pendant. So, and I have to imagine we're going to get to see the green pendant turn in next. Just a map there in Meyer. We are looking for combos and the big key.
So here we go. What is green pendant today? What does Saha give us as his family heirloom? It is Bombos!
Oh my gosh, we are in no mode as a commentating duo, but neither of our runners know where that last piece is. This is huge, and this is bad though. Oh no. This is huge knowledge for bsj, but heading into Turtle Rock without the hookshot, the Hookshot Cave becomes a hard last location now, I feel like, for bsj. Oh, I don't know how this is gonna turn out. Mocha,
well.
What do you think? I thought that was we said this was an out for bsj, but given that it is Bombos and it is sending bsj up the mountain, when do we see bsj come back with a hook shot?
Whenever TR turns up empty for both the hook shot and a medallion.
But that's the thing, like, bsj is knocking out Ether Tablet and is gonna fully clear Turtle Rock, so there's only the 3 items in Hookshot Cave. What sends you back to Hookshot Cave when you, like, that's a last location, I feel like.
I mean, there's really nothing in Lower Hyrule that's left other than Thieves Town.
So that's the thing. bsj goes in, full clears Turtle Rock, finishes that up, heads to VOO. There's a good chance we get Thieves Town before Smith Chain. And then full clear Smith Chain, does get the hook shot, full clear Swamp Palace. I think we see a full clear of Lower Hyrule before bsj considers Hookshot Cave.
This is going to be close. I don't know. Like, I just don't know.
And yeah, people asking about, hovering, how good is bsj at hitting the A button really, really fast. Both of our runners were up here earlier with the mitts and the boots, of course, because it is cast boots, and they skipped the hovers. So neither runner really taking a chance to hover this seed. So if they know, they were not showing it off then. But we did see spooky action on SEJay's side, and bsj realizing, wait a minute, gotta go the other way.
Yeah, with half magic and cape, we're going to see dash strats here.
Dash strats are always fun. Nicely done. And down goes Vitreous. So that is going to be crystal number 6 for SEJay. You know, opening up a healthy lead of 2 crystals right now, and just looking for that Bombos medallion. We do know it is on green pendant turn-in, so SEJay does need to make his way over to Ice Palace.
Now, I've said this before. I'm going to ask this. Will SEJay go for the more dense check of there's always something in Pendant Pod before heading into 4-item Ice Palace?
So I know a lot of people, you know, might subscribe to the idea there's a pod, but I raise you the power of fire locking fire.
Rule of Fires is a good one.
Yep. So I think we've all heard our rules on different, you know, things to find. So I like yours. I've heard that one a lot, but fire locking fire is the other one. So Ice Palace locking Bombos.
So yeah, that's something that we're definitely going to have to watch to see who makes the play first. I mean, oh my goodness.
And chat's pointing out the fact that TR is hookshot locked, so bsj might, you know, do a little less here in TR, but really there's no reason to, because bsj is still looking for that Quake medallion, might believe that Quake is here. So yes, hookshot can't, but in bsj's mind, Quake can.
And SEJay heads to turn in his mushroom.
So yes, TR itself does not require the hookshot. It's the fact that the Ice Palace key layout, which led to the Bombos medallion to get into Turtle Rock, was hookshot locked. So it's kind of a cascade of logic that makes TR hookshot locked.
But we're heading to Thieves Town, it looks like, on SEJay's side. Or maybe to Bumper Ledge?
And I will say to chat, specifically to Sora, Ice Palace key logic's one of the hardest things to understand. For the main tourney this year, there was actually a question on our questionnaire to sign up to be commentators that said, explain Ice Palace key logic. Even those of us who've been commentators for a while still get confused on that question. It is not easy.
Yes, that was the one question that I remember. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad now I have a resource for that key logic now.
Yeah, that was the hardest question for a lot of us, and you know, so many of us being veteran commentators getting tripped up on that question. You almost have to pull up the map. But here we go. Thieves Town on SEJay's side. I have to imagine will be a Thieves Town play also from bsj soon. Or eventually even. Like, even if bsj goes into Hammer Peg's first thing, I wouldn't be shocked if bsj returns to Thieves Town before Hookshot Cave. So bsj looks like it's just going to play it a little bit safe here. Probably open up. Oh, not getting safety door. Okay.
Nah, me, Blue Mill, 11 hearts, 12 hearts now. Nah.
Turns out the key was in the first chest all along.
If you... It could theoretically be the last chest, so it was Schrodinger's vanilla location, because it was the last check that was checked.
Wow. Really pushing the luck there on what counts as last.
We're getting the purple chest check.
I mean, the only thing we can really still look for here is a sword and maybe red mail, or the single arrow, that arrow of destiny.
Head in the ice.
And this is going to really, bsj had some outs here depending on how long it took SEJay to get to Ice Palace, but SEJay's making the play for this, and I like the play. You said pod. I look at this as, if I'm going to do pod eventually, I might want to have the green pendant before I go. And I think that's what we're seeing from SEJay, is saying, yeah, I want to do pod, but ice first.
Yeah, it makes sense to go over there with green pendant in hand.
And I don't know if there's a lot of options for bsj as an out. Has raced a good race up to this point. Unfortunately, skipping hammer pegs really is making the difference here. And bsj leaving the mountains, so I don't know when Hookshot Cave becomes that, I want to go back moment.
Well, here they are going to Village of Outcast now, so we will see if hammer pegs that area will be first, or what.
Apparently it's going to be at least the front for a Thieves Town.
Which there obviously was nothing in there. But, we still have a hammer in hand. We haven't quick swapped over to mirror yet.
Well, 3 chests. Still a chance we leave, but given how thorough bsj's been up to this point, there's a definite chance we just see the full clear.
Yes, SEJay is on red mail.
Yeah, Pikachu gets a little bit of a tan.
And yes, we are going to get a full clear of Thieves Town.
Yep, and that's unfortunate. I mean, I don't see a lot of ways for bsj to come back from this one. The pendant plays have not worked out, and yes, I mean, bsj is going to have to do Smith Chain after this, but I can't imagine bsj is going to feel like, they're in a good position. And that's the hard part about this one, is just knowing, I had the option to do this a lot sooner. And that never feels good. You talk to any runner and, you have that moment where they're just like, oh, I could have done this, at this point 30 plus minutes ago.
Yeah. Oh. I am curious hate saying this, but here's what the thought process was behind. Like, is it going ahead and clearing out Vu before going back to Smith Chain, or what the process was there?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a tough one. But SEJay has that mirror out, so going to be heading probably to Pod and Sahasrahla next, and we know that is going to be Go mode. And there's that shovel. So, I mean, at this point, I think we know bsj is going to go Smith Chain. So yeah, SEJay setting up to at least be able to head into Palace of Darkness. Probably imagine we're going to see the mirror come out really soon as well to hit check Sahasrahla before going in.
Yep, and there's that mirror right there, going into Saha, and will be rewarded with that Bombos medallion.
And at 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 50 seconds, SEJay has officially entered Go mode. So Team Swordbeam Club is in Go mode, as bsj does take down Blind for a third pendant.
Alright, we're going to get a blind pet bull. Nope, we might not get a blind pet bull. We have a book out. Wait,
I mean,
okay.
I don't know. Mocha, if you've put in the effort to pull all or kill all 3 pendants, do you just blind pull this?
I would.
Do it for the audience.
Do it for chat.
Do it for chat. And for chat, here you go. You get a ped pull tonight. You're getting it all. For that heart container. And bsj, if you do watch this back later, just know Twitch chat does love you and says thank you.
We're getting that Smith chain now from bsj, as SEJay is heading into Turtle Rock. This TR will be definitely much quicker than bsj, as at one. Well, we're not even in Go mode yet. We're almost in Go mode with bsj.
Yeah, and for SEJay, you know, the one thing that, you know, it's not going to be too much quicker. Turtle Rock's unfortunately a dungeon that doesn't benefit a ton from having a Go mode, and is especially not great in this seed because of the fact that we had a vanilla big key.
Yeah. But the hook shot made the torches room quicker.
Agreed.
So my point still stands.
SEJay, right, bad news there that it is that vanilla big key in TR. And yeah, bsj is just going to finish out Smith Chain here, you know, get that purple chest, head the rest of the way to Bombo's tablet, and eventually go into Swamp after that.
Doing some digging, finding the mirror shield and immediately turning it away.
That poor shield. It's gotten such a bad rap in this game. It's really not that bad.
I mean, do you want to see your sprite's face anymore?
I mean, we already got a mirror. And yeah, if anybody didn't know, there was a long-held belief in the community that Mirror Shield introducer. It turned out that it was actually not true. That the Mirror Shield is not what causes the lag. It's just the fact that you have so many extra hearts at the point you find a Mirror Shield, and that is what helps contribute to the lag. So Mirror Shield is just given the bad reputation that is so sorely not deserved. But there's Bombo's tablet for BSJ, and we'll get a play into Swamp Palace next for BSJ's sixth crystal.
Alright, and SEJay just has to open up one more chest. Well, he gets the right chest to find that small key.
I don't know, do you prefer to start from the top or the bottom of Laser Bridge?
Depends on my health situation, but typically at the top.
Yeah, I'm usually a top start as well, and it looks like that's what SEJay's doing, so he does get the first chest small key, and SEJay doesn't care at this point about the possibility of silvers. I think for him, you know, knowing he still had Thieves, still had Pod, just is going to say, I don't care where the silver arrows are, I can live without them. Or maybe they're in GT. Unfortunately, we do know they are in Palace of Darkness, and SEJay is not finding them.
Yeah, I mean, 13 hearts, red mill, the temperate sword, and you have a cape if you want to just spam slash. There's really not a need for silvers at this point.
Only problem is that that head is avoiding those fire rod shots like a pro. Unfortunately, with half magic, SEJay doesn't have to worry too much.
Hey, sniper.
Yeah.
We're about to hit 7 crystals here.
Oh, does that mean we actually have to start putting numbers to where we think that big key is?
I believe so. Was it 1 through 22?
Yeah, there's 22 locations in the basement of Ganon's Tower where the GT big key can be. If you want to put a guess in the chat, please feel free to take a shot at it. No internet or no special points. We don't really have that anymore. But remember, you will have the forever admiration of Mocha and I for guessing a number completely arbitrarily. Hooray, internet points.
You know, for the sake of proving I'm not a wit, I'm not gonna give you a guess.
I see my number's been taken, so I'm gonna say, let's go with just a good old 14. Why not? And yeah, Quake was in Hookshot Cave, and unfortunately, definitely a hard location. That's gonna be, I don't know if BSJ finds that anytime soon. Running out of checks at least, so like there's not a ton of options left to find it, but really having a bit of difficulty here with the Samaria diver down. Does get it though.
Alright, so we have 3 keys in the Southwest room. That's 5, with not a big key there. So we're heading over to Hope Room to see if a big key's in here. Chest number 6, $20. 7, 20 more bucks.
We're going to continue to the right. So looks like we are at least getting some variation on the Dark Magician strategy. And yeah, if you're joining us a little bit late tonight, in this late night rando, the story of this race really is just SEJay finding the hook shot early in hammer pegs, while bsj unfortunately skipped hammer pegs for quite a while, and that's kind of led us to this point. And there it is. Is that number 7?
That's number 8, I thought. Yeah, that's number 8.
Yeah, you're right. Number 8. Sorry, number 8. We had a couple of people guess number 7 with Tiverius, as well as Attack 9 guy, and then we had a number 9 from Sean Rhapsody. So GG's to our closest people. I don't play by Price is Right rules or anything special, so the 3 of you all win.
Alright, so we have a climb happening. We're about to hit the gauntlet on SEJay's side, while bsj is about to take down Argus.
And that BMOS is bullying SEJay a little bit, but still getting through the gauntlet. As bsj also gets that red mail and crystal number 6. So before you climb GT, you want to make sure you have at least one usually. Is a key on a mini Helmasaur up at the top, so you'll have 2. You'll have a second one, but you need at least 1 before you start the climb to guarantee you'll get the keys.
Yeah, because you don't want to start the climb with 0 keys.
And at this point, you know, bsj has no options. This is a last location, and will get the Quake Medallion. It's just, it is too little too late at this point, unfortunately. Just a rough kind of go of everything, and the Pendant Dungeon's really not paying out tonight. Although SEJay's going to have to be a little bit careful here. Down to 3 hearts and taking a little bit of extra damage.
If SEJay can make it to 2 more rooms from now, can just powder the anti-fairies in there.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. Just cutting a little bit close. I think we've all had, you know, rough experiences where we've gotten 1.0'd by that fire bar room. But does make it here. And just enough magic to be able to get that done, so gonna enter Moldorm 2 at full health.
And at 1 hour 27 minutes, and just under 1 hour 28 minutes, bsj is in go mode.
And SEJay's not even checking chests. He doesn't even care about the silver arrows at this point. A little surprising, he's kind of just going for it, but he's in great shape at this moment anyway, so.
Dude, that was a nice triple setup.
Yeah, really nice line to start. Not exactly the greatest setups after that, but does get the job done. I believe that was, what, a 4 cycle?
That was a 4 cycle and increasing that bonk counter as well.
I mean, that is definitely something very SEJay-like. So, I don't know if he's going to hit 40 bonks total, but he's really trying to raise the number there. Meanwhile, bsj working through crystal number 7 right now. And SEJay drops into the Ganon fight. See if we get that 1-1. I think that was only a single spin though, so not going to hit it. But is just going to wail away at Ganon here. Yep. But Ganon's setting up really nicely here in the top right corner.
Yeah, putting that K to good use. Just equip it, start slashing. Don't waste a whole lot of magic. Already into phase 3.
Yeah, nice 2-1. Unfortunately, unable to get the 1-1, but still nicely done there.
Ganon's being nice with the first 3 warps. All 4 warps, just 1.
Gets the news of where those silvers were. But does get the torch glitch. And gonna start the Ganon fight in earnest now. 12 spins to win it. Looks like we're gonna see some of what some people might refer to as the baby triples. On the bottom, we'll see if he goes for any top triples as well. Yep, here we go. Even going for those tops. Nice.
Yeah, that's the easier the top setups you can get. It's kind of harder with the further away Ganon is. But that was nice, except the Firebot did not want to play nicely.
Yeah, I'm going to wait down here at the bottom again. And there we go. Down goes Ganon on SEJay's side as bsj is looking for that Meyer big key. But get your GGs in chat for SEJay and Swordbeam Club. And there we go. SEJay finishing in first place with an official race time of 1:31:44. GGs to SEJay. And it looks like, yeah, bsj noticing the information there on the race room and deciding to call it a night on his end as well. So GG to bsj as well, as we are joined by both of our runners, SEJay and bsj. GG's, guys.
Thank you. GG's to bsj as well. I don't know. That seed was weird.
I will say, don't go back and listen to the beginning of it, because I might have jinxed y'all.
You know, I told Jesse before we started streaming this that I was gonna do like a route where I didn't go to Kakariko for a while. And when I got everything to go to the mountain, I was really tempted to go up to the mountain before even doing Kakariko. And I really wish I had, because I was like, oh, I can go to the mountain and keep putting off Kakariko. But then I was like, oh, what if it has a flute? I should probably just do Kakariko. So I felt really bad when the hammer was up there, because I was like, oh, I could have done powder.
Yeah, both of y'all's routes, I mean, y'all eventually converts up on the mountain at the same time. I saw y'all chatting in the post-race room. Describe y'all's thinking coming down from the mountain, if y'all will.
What do you mean, like after I found Quake?
After that first trip up the mountain where you had mitts and hammer and everything.
You know, the way I routed it, I don't think there's much else I could have done. I was looking at it and trying to think like, okay, if somebody got hook shot and then maybe it's just one of those nasty seeds where Bombos is just in Hookshot Cave. And I've got the book out of Skull Woods, which I was trying to think like, okay, what items do I have that give me an advantage? Because I didn't feel great after the death in Mini Moldorm Cave, and then not gambling right in Eastern and having to go back in, and not gambling right in somewhere else and having to go back in. I think it was Skullwood's Bridge or something like that. So I kept having to go back into dungeons. So I was like, well, let me see if I've got something potentially that I could follow. So I was like, I could do Ether Tablet, and I got Hookshot right after getting Hammer. Like, maybe that's something I should follow. And that gave me Quake, which wasn't necessarily good, because that just delayed me even further going to Ice Palace, which I wanted to do right after Swamp. But then yesterday I did a practice where I went into Pendant Ice Palace and got laughed at by a lot of people. And so I didn't go into it.
We did have the indirect fire locking fire tonight, so...
But yeah, I was by the time Ganon came around, I was not feeling great, because until it finished and I heard about the unfortunate last location of the hookshot on bsj's side, I was thinking like, oh man, like if you don't go to the mountain and get Quake first and you get Bombos first, like I was thinking like there's so much I could have not checked, so that was kind of stressing me out.
Yeah, BSJ. So yeah, your thoughts on the seed?
That darn hook shot.
Understandable.
I didn't want to go check that champion because I needed to do something against this guy here because he's good. Well, still got me.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Rando.
Yeah, I mean,
But you were the first one to go into Ice, and that was the biggest game changer when you got that, turned in that green pin and found that Bombos. And we were trying to will you to that hook shot.
yeah, I'm trying to think that hook shot. I'm trying to remember why I was doing Smith Chain. Oh, because I found Hammer and my brain was stuck on the, if I had done the mountain first, I could have done Magic Bat. So my brain was glued on Magic Bat. So when I south routed up to Magic Bat, I grabbed the Smith along the way and then just did that stuff. So yeah, it was kind of weird because I felt like the seed was just kind of like, hey, go up the mountain. And I was like, okay, well, we're probably doing Aga because look at the item layout we have. And then as soon as I got up the mountain and got the hammer and then came back down the mountain, it felt like everything else. Like you get your flute and you get your hook shot and you get all that stuff in Dark Village. And then I remember looking at my tracker and I was trying to figure out how many items from Go mode I was. And I realized it was 1 or 2 medallions. And I was like, oh no, there's a lot of this seed left. And I have to find 1 or 2 medallions. That's not going to go great. So... I mean, I think that no matter what, you kind of last locate anything. I was lucky enough that I think that the only thing I really dodged was Back of Thieves and Pod, because I did get Quake first. I didn't go into Pod once I got Bombos, which was nice. But outside of that, I was not feeling good. I did Meyer and skipped Cutscene Room and then got my killed Vidi and he had a small key, so... I was debating, like, do I just leave it? And I was like, no, like, I gotta hope that the Quake I got up on the mountain is gonna pay off into Bombos. And it didn't, so it is what it is. But
yeah, I do want to ask about that play, SEJay, a little bit. Just what possessed you to go after Hookshot Cave, I guess, so quickly?
I had Book from Skull Woods.
That was it, just the idea of being able to route an Ether Tablet?
I had Book from Skull Woods. I was looking for 2 medallions. And I didn't want to start pendant diving when I could check, in essence, 4 items really kind of quickly up the mountain. My thought was like, okay, well, I'm going up the mountain. I can't open TR, but I can at least hammer peg it, and maybe Bombos is in Hookshot Cave. And, I was trying to think to myself, like, what were things that could get me an advantage? Because I felt like early on, my early death in Mini Moldorm Cave and some of my other goofs, just like, I wasn't feeling super great. And so when I saw the pendants that were available, it was kind of like, okay, well, that's like just a, pick your poison kind of situation. So then I went up the mountain and I got Quake. And then when I did Thieves Town, my thought was, I didn't think that BSJ was going to have like full cleared Thieves Town the first time in. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to check the front 4 because he probably checked the front 4. And then I'll go do Green Pendant into Swamp. And then if it's in the back of Thieves, then whatever, we're probably both last locating that. So I wasn't too concerned about that. I don't know, just things in awkward places. You kind of had to bounce back and forth a lot in this seed into places like, I've already been there, but okay, go back. And it just, nothing felt super clean except for that like route where you got Fire Rod, Hookshot, Flute in that Dark Village route. That felt nice, but other than that, a lot of it felt like just bouncing back and forth.
Fair enough. I know it's getting late for at least some of us here, so I'll try not to keep everybody too long. But any real final thoughts tonight?
Playoffs are crazy. Anything can happen. Good luck to In Rod We Trust, in the rest of the games, but not too much luck. And I think that Sean plays tomorrow morning and Penguin plays on Sunday. So, we'll just have to see how things kind of shake out. But, from going to not knowing if we were going to make playoffs to winning a game is kind of cool.
And anything on your side, BSJ?
No, it's been fun. This seed annoyed me a bit, but fun. And thanks for restraining us, calming and tracking and everything.
Well, we wouldn't have a race without the two of y'all, so thank y'all. GG to both of y'all. And again, give our runners a follow. SEJay and BSJ. Give them a follow. And also remember to give my co-com a follow, RackleSapper99, Tracking Professor Pixie, and our restreamer, Yonkers Wife. Also, if you're not following the ALTTPR League family of channels, which is this one that you're currently on, and 2 through 4, give those a follow. If you want to help support the league, hit that subscribe button. And then we do have more action coming up. Can I say later today? Would that be allowed? I mean, it's already
not false. We do have 4 races on the schedule for Wednesday. In just about 10 hours from now, or just under 10 hours from now, we do have the second game of this series. Sean Rhapsody for Swordbeam Club versus Brev for In Rod We Trust. That'll be over on Speed Gaming at 11:10 a.m. They're playing Cross Keys. Later tonight at 7:10 Eastern, JK LOL Leoria versus Mr. Aaron Snurd of Rando Babies. That'll be a casual boots matchup on this channel right here. 8:40 p.m. Dante Made Us Join and Kakariko Brew Crew face off, also in Cross Keys. Lilithen versus Will WC. They'll be on ALTTPR League 2. And then 11:10 p.m. Late night, we have another game in the JKLL versus Rando Babies. Kazen and Norsk Maddie. They will be playing the Power Pendant mode, which means we are getting an Ambrosia tomorrow night on ALTTPR League. So there are 4 matches on the schedule for the rest of this day. And, once again, shout outs to my co-com, Mr. Mocha Jones. It has been a pleasure to work with you again, sir.
It's always a pleasure to work with you, sir. And again, thank everyone for coming out tonight. And we will see y'all later today for more rando action. Bye.